On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Trump is moving forward, period. He's trying to move through all the proper channels, the proper courts, and then essentially letting his lawyers that work for him help make some of the decisions on how best to move forward, what we think legally we can get away with. Constitutional scholars are involved. We are in a changing time. And I want everybody to understand the deep state doesn't want to let go. And that is what Trump is doing. Everything Trump is doing right now, especially if you're hearing it bad-mouthed, is actually destroying or cutting away at the deep state and their money-making machine. And tell you what, for the most part, they'd rather you not have a dime than them. I mean, if they're going to lose everything, you're going to go down with it. So I'm going to tell you, that's one thing. I don't know. This is the big question, is how crazy does this have to be? How protected are we from, with what Trump is doing internally, which I think is great. It's definitely moving us in the right direction, and how quickly things can happen is going to be up in the air, and how quickly we can move forward, whether or not the Brunson case comes. There's so much going on. And we're just scratching the surface. It's only Sunday. I can't even wait to see what happens tomorrow on Monday. Oh, May 4th, though. May the 4th be with you, or for all the people that don't understand what the hell that is. It's like Star Wars, may the Force be with you. All right, so May the 4th, 4th of May, may the 4th be with you. So yeah, that's fun. Just something that's triggering people. Also, Trump wishes, I bet Melania wishes Trump looked that good, no offense. I mean, be the same guy that he is, but then all chiseled and shit. Holy crap. Happy May 4th to all, including the radical left lunatics who are fighting so hard to bring Sith Lords, murderers, drug lords, dangerous prisoners, and well-known MS-13 gang members back into our galaxy. You're not the rebellion, you're the empire. May the 4th be with you. Very cool. I just think this is one of the damn funniest things I've ever seen. I'm going to play it twice, is how much I love this. It made me laugh so damn hard. I'd seen it before, and then it popped up in my stupid little moments where I get lost on the shorts. It's tough. But this one, I'm sorry, just cracks me up. There's an emu, I believe. There's a backfire, just to give a little backstory. This thing freaks out, and then the voiceover that they do to it is just classic.
Oh my! That was a gunshot!
Kenneth.
Everyone get your heads down!
Kenneth.
That was a drive-by attempt, Frank!
Kenneth, that was a neighbor's car backfiring.
They're coming for the eggs!
Kenneth!
They're coming for the eggs! Oh my! That was a gunshot!
Kenneth.
Everyone get your heads down!
Kenneth.
That was a drive-by attempt, Frank!
Kenneth, that was a neighbor's car backfiring.
They're coming for the eggs!
Kenneth!
They're coming for the eggs!
I'm sorry, that is so damn funny. And to me, it's funnier the second time. That's the best part about the whole thing. I love it. I love that too much. This is kind of an interesting experiment for all of us. Or interesting information. I don't know. I don't know how you're going to, all of you are going to take this differently, right? So I don't know. But this is a powerful lesson that all of us need to understand. No matter what it is that you hold true, near and dear, no matter what it is, beliefs specifically, no matter what they are, and I'm not trying to pick on any of them in particular, he explains how beliefs are created and how our minds just naturally work and how easy it is. And then they're used against us, really, typically. But this is, I don't know, powerful information. Hopefully you do something with it.
Might be thinking, these two circles are not equal. I repeat, these two circles are not equal. One is in fact larger than the other. What I need you to do is determine which one that is. So, please raise your hand if you believe the blue circle is larger than the red. All right. Please raise your hand if you believe the red circle is larger than the blue. All right, very good. Now, before I said anything about these two circles, what was your first instinct? Equal, right? Because they look equal. And the reason why they look equal is because, in fact, they are equal. These two circles are identical. Yet I got just about every one of you to raise your hand and say that they're not. So what do we learn? That you can be manipulated like that to believe in something that goes against your natural instincts. Just imagine as a child you're taught that the blue circle is larger than the red. If you say it enough times, you convince yourself that's the truth. If you're told the lie enough times, it becomes part of your reality. And if enough people are taught that lie, that the blue circle is larger than the red, well, now it becomes part of the culture. And if that culture then passes that misinformation along to the next generation, well, now it becomes tradition.
Yeah, tradition. All these things build on top of each other. And again, it's not a slam on anybody. It's just, this is the harder part about waking up, is like when you realize, you start waking up and you start asking questions. This is really how waking happens, right? And then really what you start to become aware of during that process seems to, in my opinion, broaden. It starts with smaller things and then starts to build into the larger. It's like, well, they've lied about this major event in history. They lied about this major event in history. They lied about this major event in history. Wait, so they've been lying to us about everything? And then you start to kind of look at the world like through that lens for a little while. And you're like, holy crap. And you start seeing more stuff that sort of helps kind of demonstrate that, yeah, it sure does look like we've been lying to us, or we've been lied to for a very long time. And you start to wonder why. You start to look into that. And ultimately, these things, I think, lead to a larger, expanded consciousness. I believe. I think this is what it does. When I meet people that are kind of more aware of a lot of this stuff, they just tend to be, like, you can feel it when you talk to them. You notice it as soon as they start talking. You start picking up on key. You're like, oh, yeah, this person gets it. This is awesome. And all these things happen in levels. You can never see a level above yourself. You can really only see below yourself or equal. And it's just the way it is. So it's a fun thing, the way it all works. But yeah, beliefs are fascinating to me. Fascinating to me. We had the Kentucky Derby was Saturday. That was pretty fun. I got to hang some with friends. I guess we can watch this last little part because it's kind of cool. A horse named Sovereignty won out over a horse named Journalism. Yeah, if you don't think there's something fixed in some of this crap, I don't know. I mean, God's definitely speaking through the horses. That's what this is.
Journalism is on the move as they turn for home, and Sovereignty is coming with him on the outside. The two of them go right by with a furlong to run. Journalism and Sovereignty, nose to nose, down to the last 16th of a mile. Sovereignty has taken the lead. Journalism is second toward the inside. Baeza is third, but it will be Sovereignty to rule the Kentucky Derby. Journalism and Baeza were next. Final gambit was fourth.
Look how freaking dirty these horses are. These poor, not the, who cares about the little midgets, but the horses. Holy crap. I mean, jockeys. I'm sorry, they got a special name. I apologize. It's still funny. But yeah, this was a big deal. I got some, my best buddies are just big horsey fans. They love the horses. They just like betting on everything, frankly, is what it is. And they did. They started up a pool. It's cool. We all drew names from the hat. I bought two of them, and yeah, I won 0. How's that? That serves me right. But yeah, Sovereignty won. Kind of cool. Muddy race against Journalism. Muddy race. Dirty race. I think there's a metaphor in there, folks. I think if it's not the movie intentionally being done and it's not God being like, all right, I'm going to seriously make it muddy on the Kentucky Derby, I'm actually going to have Sovereignty win over Journalism. None of y'all know this yet, but it's going to happen. The bookies think it's going to be this person, right? Or this whatever. I forget which one it was, right? However the hell it happens, folks. You can believe whatever you want to believe. It's fine. I don't care. This is one of the reasons why, one, poor programming when it comes to robots is a scary thing, especially robots that are designed for combat. Here's an example of the Chinese working out some of the kinks. No offense to the Chinese people. Chinese people are brilliant, wonderful people. They have one of the oldest cultures on the planet. I actually adore them as a culture, so I just want everybody to know that. Though the CCP sucks balls. Just balls with a Z, too, CCP. I think she is a white hat. I actually am pretty sure at this point, but that's me, right? I think he is. I think he's actually literally trying to stop the CCP, and everything's took longer than it was supposed to. Trump had to actually have a term in between because we weren't quite ready. She has actually gone an extended term because things didn't happen as quickly as they were supposed to. Putin's done the same thing, by the way, oddly. 3 of the most consequential leaders on this planet have stayed in place longer than they needed to. And I mean, frankly, when Biden was president, y'all know Trump was running things really, from our standpoint especially, right? So Trump is on his 3rd term. For all the people that think he's going to run in 2028, I don't think he is. I frankly hope he doesn't have to. I pray that Trump doesn't have to. Because, man, I'd like to see the dude at least enjoy the last few years of his life. As many Big Macs as this guy's eaten, holy crap, I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine. Needless to say, on my tangent coming back circle, yeah, China. And poor programming right here. I think he said it to hate Asian mode. You know, like there's a hate white people mode, hate black people mode, hate Asian people mode. Yeah, I think that's what accidentally happened. And then the robot's like, oh, just tried to get him, you know? What else are you going to do when you're set that way? We had a plane crash here in California, a small single engine, single pilot for that matter, too. Crashed into a home. People in the home survived. They got out. They were in the home at the time. The dude himself died, the pilot. It was a Vans aircraft RV-10, for those of you that are like, what was it, Dan? That's what it was. It was took off from General William J. Fox Airfield in Lancaster, north of Los Angeles, and was en route to Camarillo Airport in Ventura County. I think that's where Ventura Highway is, but yeah, I think so. Okay, so Trump's approval. This is Rasmussen. It's one of the ones that's fun, and I felt like I should just, at least present the information. Trump's total approve. First off, the strongly disapprove. Oh, wait, strongly approve. That's the one I wanted to look at. I didn't actually pay close enough attention to that. Yeah, Trump stayed pretty high through most of his presidency. I guess it was higher earlier on, and then people are like, he's not doing stuff fast enough, which is insane to me, by the way. That's what blows my mind. That no matter how fast things... I mean, maybe we aren't moving fast enough. Maybe that is the thing. Maybe we can handle quicker speed. So many people actually, doubt that. Whatever the case is. We'll find out. Total approve, he's at 50% right now. Total disapprove, 49%. This is the Rasmussen poll. But the way they kind of break down struck me as interesting, actually. I think it's one of the statistics, if you will. So overall, 50% approval. Awesome. Men, 55%. Makes sense. Women, 45%. Right? That's pretty cool how close to the center that's actually getting, by the way. So, again, that gives me great hope. Again, it's a reasonably good poll. It's a poll, though. 18 to 39, 50%. That's pretty solid. That's kind of surprising, too. 40 to 64, 52%. Okay, that's like, most of my audience. 46% for anybody that's 65 and older. You're probably going to die hard a Democrat in a lot of cases. But the way it breaks down racially was weird. 49% white. All right. Black, 39%. That's cool. That's pretty high. Hispanic, 62%. The people that are getting deported... 62% of Hispanics are like, nah, I like what Trump's doing. 62% of Hispanics. Anyway, others, 51%. I don't know what that means. Democrats, 24% think Trump's doing a good job. That's also incredible. 24% of Democrats are probably going to become independent. That's what I'm taking from this. Independents, 46% of them think Trump's on the right track. All right, that's good. That's not bad. There's still a lot of Trump haters in that world that just don't want to be Democrats either. They're like, I hate Trump, but I just can't stand my party right now. All right, I got you. 46% still pretty solid. 24% of Dems. Holy crap. As far as GOP, 79% of GOP overwhelmingly approve of what Trump's doing. And when you really take that number and you think about the elections and you think about where they cheated and you think about how many votes we probably actually did get versus them, when you look at the breakdown, especially when you remove illegal votes, yeah, that number affects things a lot. So we're doing, I think, a lot better than most can see, because again, the fight is the optics. The optical part's the part we see presented to us. It's the part that's still largely controlled by the deep state. Trump knows that. Trump knows the things he's got to do have to be done carefully or he's going to get totally blamed, which he's going to in some ways, but he needs to be able to turn the corner quick enough to be able to show the results of it, because honestly, people in this country have about a 4-second, like literally, if it gets outside of 3 days, and I mean that, outside of 3 days, it's already old news and forgotten about. And if you can't start to show positivity within a week, tops, yeah, you're bummed. And we've got midterms, and this is a big thing. And Trump could break the midterms, which would just destroy this country. That's where Trump's at. If he does this wrong, we fall into the pit of despair, and I don't know what happens at that point. If Trump does this right, we go back and become an even greater nation than the greatest nation that's ever been here. Now, the Pope or the Cardinal or whoever, the Vatican, they were very upset about this picture. This picture was not created by Trump. Trump shared it. It was created by AI, by somebody else who's been running around the internet. Trump just shared it because it's freaking pretty cool. And it's triggering the hell out of the left. They are so upset with it. Speaking of some weird stuff that the left seems fond of doing, they like to destroy anybody of their people, or anybody for that matter, that goes against the system. And that's really important. You got to understand that with the wealthy people that own companies, CEOs and all that stuff. If they go against the system, in most cases, they will be taken down. Many of these people have stuff against them anyway, right? Like they're bought and paid for. In a lot of places, they're put in their positions because of that, and they know it. The reason they make the money they make is because they're dirty. So we're in a system that we're shining a light, and we're actually starting to see all the nasties. I don't want to be specific about what kind of nasties because it impacts people's lives, frankly. But we're starting to see the little things floating around, flying around, running around, whatever. Here they got Fetterman. They're hating on Fetterman hard right now. They're worried about his mental health. They say if he stays on his current trajectory, he won't be with us much longer. They wrote this back in 2024. They're bumming on this dude because he's not saying what he's supposed to say. He's a Democrat, and he's not saying what Democrats are supposed to say. So they're saying he's not taking his meds. See, they're getting ready to try to out him, off him, or something. Because if he switches parties, which he's likely to do, the Dems are screwed even further. And I know I'd say there's 10 of him in the Senate right now. Now, we got some bastard-ass pieces of crap, uniparty pieces of Republican grossness that probably need to be called out. I don't think 10. It's still Lindsey Graham. Curious. We'll see, buddy. We'll see. I'm going to be all over you, buddy, like white on rice. Or brown on rice, depending if you actually remove the husk. That's essentially what the difference is for those of you that don't know. I've become a bit of a rice connoisseur. And, the brown rice is just the reason it's healthier is because you digest less of it. It's just, mostly it's just roughage that just passes through your body. And hopefully scrapes your colon on the way out or something. But otherwise, there's very little nutritional value to it. So, whatever. Makes you happy. Eat it. It's fantabulous. Yeah, they're going after everybody right now. Everybody. And it's weird. Canadian Auto Show, another example, kind of. They suggested that Tesla remove themselves from the Vancouver Auto Show, the International Vancouver Auto Show. They said, hey, we think you should probably pull out of this, It's probably just better, with the way things are. And he's like, and they either didn't respond or like, no, thanks. Appreciate though. Thanks for the thought. We're going to show up anyway. And then they basically said, we're going to ban you now because we just want to look out for the safety of people here. So they're removing Tesla from these car shows, which, again, is going to work against them. There was an interview that's running around. I think it was Laura Trump interviewed Musk. It was pretty good. It's just too long. I waste enough time as it is. But it was very good, and you guys get a chance to see it. Hopefully you have seen it. But Musk does talk about the car, and Laura says she has actually a family that literally bought one because of him. And I'm like, I totally did. I got solar. I've talked about it. I got the battery, for the house too, so I can kind of sort of go off grid eventually when they finally let me. And it's a Tesla battery, right? So there's a lot of that kind of. The other side starting to really support him. So it's going to work against him. This looks bad. Once again, Canada doing their Canada stuff every once in a while, There was a lovely drink called Clearly Canadian back in the day. I remember that. Here's President Trump. He's not really seriously considering a third term. This is his words.
Are you seriously considering a third term, Mr. President, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution? Or is this about staying politically viable?
I will say this. So many people want me to do it. I have never had requests so strong as that. But it's something that, to the best of my knowledge, you're not allowed to do. I don't know if that's constitutional that they're not allowing you to do it or anything else, but there are many people selling the 2028 hat. But this is not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years and turn it over to somebody, ideally a great Republican, to carry it forward. But I think we're going to have 4 years, and I think 4 years is plenty of time to do something really spectacular.
Yeah, I wonder if he's sort of almost sort of an homage to that Smith guy, that Stephen A. Smith, that dude. There was a thing, I was going to play it, it hit the cutting floor, but he was talking about how if he wanted to run, Democrat Party's got to change. Can't be the way it is, and that's the ticket he wants to run. He says he's very center-left, but when it comes to finances, he's kind of on the conservative side. It's much like I guess I would consider myself. Now, again, how far into the center is he able to comfortably go without completely removing most of his audience? It's going to be challenging. See, I just started there, so made it easy. I just get to build an audience from here. I don't have to worry about losing my entire audience and then having to deal with that. Though I do that enough on my own, because I do bring up some third rail topics every once in a while, but whatever. Temu ends China's shipments to the U.S. after Trump closes this de minimis loophole. So what this was is anything under $800 could enter tariff-free. That's over. What this has also done, by the way, I mean, it's done that, and this has stopped a lot of stuff. So Temu's just like, we can't do this. It's too expensive. They're showing the prices with the extra fees, and nobody wants to buy them. So that was part of the problem. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, nearly 1.4 billion shipments entered the U.S. in 2024 through this de minimis loophole. That was up from 637 million from 4 years earlier. So more than doubled. So anything under 800,000, but there's a caveat to it, and I think I saw this with here. Yeah, this loophole. It allowed products worth up to $800 to avoid tariffs and face limited inspections as long as they were shipped directly to U.S. consumers or small business. This is where a lot of the fentanyl and stuff supposedly has been also coming in. That's now been shut off. Now, not necessarily child trafficking and stuff like that, like a lot of people would want to say. It's the $800 that I think probably cost prohibited for that, but I think they're doing that in many other ways. We've got 9 signs that conditions are ripe for major economic crisis. Again, Trump's going to do everything he can to set us up, and he's setting us up for success. There's a bunch of trillions of dollars that are going to be invested in this country over the next 4 years for sure. In some cases, maybe longer. But we've obviously got a lot of things that we've got to work through to get there, right? And there's a lot of things that kind of are supposed to happen, best we understand. And in order for us to move forward, there's probably needs to be a new currency tied to the Treasury specifically, or at least the United States rather than the central bank. And we need to tie it to assets. So I think Trump is setting us up beautifully for that. We've got mining stuff happening. We've got the liquid natural gas as well as oil. We've got a bunch of those things going on. We've obviously got gold too, hopefully, that we can back our currency with as well. So there's a number of things that we're going to back our currency with. And it'll be a glorious day because we'll have kicked the Fed out. We'll have kicked the debt out. We'll probably have had some sort of jubilee for debt against the Federal Reserve note anyways. So again, there is a magical day coming. How this implosion happens and how clean this implosion is, that's the big question. That's why I obviously talk so much about DRS like gold.com. It's just that's the problem. We don't know. That's why you protect yourself, right? You can get yourself some bubble wrap, essentially, so you survive. So here's 9 things we're talking about. During the first 3 months of this year, which was before the trade war erupted, U.S. GDP was already contracting at about 0.3% annually. Already going backwards, which just means they're finally admitting it. We were hearing about this a year plus ago, but they wouldn't admit it because it would have destroyed Biden way more than he'd already destroyed himself over and over. So now those numbers are showing. Again, they're going to blame Trump for everything they can. They're going to pin everything they can on Trump. And any sort of bad stuff that they feel like they want to do or need to do, they're going to try to blame Trump. Trump's going to be like, yeah, he sneezes on TV, on camera, and then all of a sudden, cold medicine goes down in cost or whatever, whatever. I don't know, something stupid. Consumer confidence has been plummeting. We, for the most part, consumers are like, yeah, something's up, recession's here, something's not right. We don't trust what you guys are saying. Everything's okay. No. Major layoffs being announced. UPS announced approximately 20,000 workers. Just a bunch of places all over the place we're hearing about layoffs. According to the executive director of the Port of Los Angeles, incoming cargo volume will be drawn down more than 35% next week compared to a year ago. That's quite a bit. It's being reported that container bookings from China to the United States have fallen by as much as 60%. Apollo Global Management is warning that mass layoffs in the trucking industry are imminent. One recent study found that a whopping 74% of all U.S. workers are currently living paycheck to paycheck. That's scary. And I know a lot of you guys are like, Dan. Student loan delinquencies in the U.S. have soared into unprecedented territory. Everybody stopped paying. That's like when you look at it, because the Biden administration didn't care. They weren't trying to collect it anymore since COVID. So it's just horribly bad. And a lot of people just thought that he was going to, pay off their student debt, especially all the people that have like basket weaving degrees and crap. Almost a quarter of U.S. adults are currently facing unmanageable debt levels. So we're in a tough place, unquestionably. Stock market's looking groovy, though, right? Don't want anybody to assume anything bad's happening. We can't actually see it. I'm about to break 1,800 on NASDAQ, which we'll probably do tomorrow. Looks like we did. I don't know what the highest ever is, but actually sometimes they show you when you click on it. Highest looks like was 18,048. I don't know when, but that was that. So yeah. Oh wait, no, it hit 20. Crap. How far out can we go? 3 years. Oh, show all. What the hell? What's the biggest? 19. Yeah, it says it hit 20. Whatever. Oh, whatever the heck. Still, crazy. NASDAQ's doing well, though. So, again, the markets, we'll see what happens. Looks like they're going to start up. But then, someone's going to sneeze during the day and they're going to go down. It was weird as all the cryptos were down, by the way. At least they were earlier. Yeah, okay, Bitcoin's up now. That's cool. That's interesting. Earlier, it was down quite a bit. A bunch, actually. It's interesting because those, I think, trade regardless. Gold's up. Oil's up. I think silver, it shows up in the crypto. No, where's it show? Futures. There it is. Silver's down a little bit, which is kind of a good thing. Crude oil is up a little, but still under 60. So that's interesting too. Again, a lot of weird stuff happening. 25% tariff on imported automobile parts is taking effect yesterday, May 3rd. That's happening. Chinese firms open factories in the U.S. to avoid tariffs. I don't think this has happened a bunch yet. From the article I was reading, it's like a lot of people are interested. There's a lot of inquiries. I think there's some movements, maybe a couple small facilities that they're going to expand. So China's even talking about building stuff here, which, I mean, okay. They're in our country. They have to abide by our rules. They can't totally do crazy stuff, but again, we'll see. United Airlines cancels 10% of daily flights from Newark amid FAA staffing and equipment failures. Straight up blaming FAA. They don't feel it's safe. I honestly think that's not true. Maybe. Let's put it this way. Here's my suspicion. United Airlines is probably bleeding money or is not really as profitable here as they'd like to be. And so they're looking for something to blame Trump on. So they're pulling out of this area, this international hub, at least 10% of their flights. It's not that much. It sounds like a reduction is what it sounds like. And then they go, well, it's the FAA, and, too many people have been fired. They don't have enough people working over there. It's just a bunch of horse shit. United Airlines. It's why you suck, by the way. You are, taking Frontier off the radar, because that's quite possibly the most uncomfortable flight I have ever. And their trays are hilarious. Their trays are barely big enough for a phone. A little flip down thing. It's just, you could put your phone on it. That's it. You couldn't actually, yeah. Anywho. I'm not trying to be a dick, but United, you were my least favorite. I feel like you had the least amount of room. American, generally, with the exception of the fact that you suck and strand people and cancel flights like mad, you're actually a more comfortable flight typically, right? TWA, I actually like them. If I'm going to give a total They're pretty cool. Their flights are nice. Their people are friendly. Like, they're actually a pretty good experience. All said. Yeah. Blaming the FAA. No, it's because you guys suck. Look, folks, I don't want to belabor the point. You guys have been hearing me talk about this for over 3 years, and I still think this is the greatest company that can help you get out of the deep state system. You've got a 401k or an IRA, you can get out tax-free and penalty-free. Check with my good friends at Goldco. They're going to help you do all that stuff. They are masters at it. They don't believe all the crazy crap I talk about, but what I'm telling you is this is why I think it's a good idea to do it. We've been talking about the economy, the wars, and all the other crap, the rumors of wars, and all the stuff that's going on right now. There is way too many things that could very easily affect your nest egg. You spent years acquiring this wealth, and it literally could go bye-bye in a matter of days. If you could put it into a precious metals, for example, well, you'll notice that continues to go up as this waning confidence in the dollar starts to continue, which I think we're going to see more of until that transitions, at which point they've got the highest price buyback guarantee already baked into the contract. You're already set, good to go. Goldco's an awesome company. You also might qualify for a free half-ounce silver coin. It's 0.9999% pure. It's beautiful stuff. And 4 data points. I think if you call within 20 minutes, a little pop-up will happen with the phone number. Just give them a call, and you can get the ball rolling. But I highly recommend it. It's like one of those things where I would get the ball rolling, see what's up, get it in front of you, and then if you want to wait or if you want to try to pull the trigger when the time's better, like, it's up to you. But it's also one of those things where if you wait too long, like, then it's like the day after and you're like, crap. And it's kind of where we sort of are. We've gained back a decent amount of the money we've lost from earlier in the year. But there's still more tariffs coming in, like the May 3rd, those tariffs just kicked in. There was a huge surge buying a bunch of stuff for inventory because they knew the tariffs were happening. When those actually go into effect and really do start to affect things, yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. Again, it's a big, giant mystery. Nobody really, really, really knows. Warren Buffett thinks it's stupid, hates tariffs, right? So he's retiring, by the way. Hopefully, I can just pass that story. But go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. That's drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. And you get a bunch of free stuff, too. Up to 10% free silver. Seriously. That's pretty awesome. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Biden, auto pen. Its use apparently increased as his cognitive decline deepened. I think this is one of those things that we're, as content creators, being asked to keep on the front burner. So yeah, the Biden signature thing is pretty crazy. Is this, this is the one that shows the merge. This is kind of fun. They did this a bunch as far as the auto pen stuff. Signed all sorts of different, the pardons and the family pardons and all this. So anyway, this is kind of these different signatures. Obviously proving that they are, in fact, the same auto pen. Boom. Joseph R. Biden. Pirates, matey. So yeah, I was talking about this statistic, I think, the other day. So yeah, 2021, 0% auto pen. He signed all those. 2022, wait, Trump was 2021, right? Okay. 2022, that was Biden. 48% of those were done with auto pen. In 2022, I'm sorry, this was before, I guess, July 15th, 48%. 100% after that on 2022. 2023 overall year, 66.67. Kind of a evilly sounding number, isn't it? 2024, they had 73% auto pen. And 2025, 100% of everything that was done by Biden was auto-penned. Everything. I guess, 2021. No, because he didn't come into office. Yeah, he didn't come into office till 2022, right? January. So, yeah, there you go. Crazy. Can't believe any of these people. Trump White House unveils a lean 2026 budget proposal. It's basically going to be super heavy military, heavy defense, Iron Dome, all that stuff. They're cutting back in a lot of other places that don't make sense. And really, and he's got to pay off debt and stuff. So that's the direction they're going. Shouldn't be a big surprise to anybody. State Department designates violent Haitian gangs as foreign terrorist organizations. You can see where he's going with this one, right? He's now calling violent Haitian gangs. What makes a violent Haitian gang? I guess behavior. This is obviously going to be fought in the courts, unquestionably, but Trump's going to use his Alien Enemies Act, I think, with the Haitians. Again, we see him doing this with the Venezuelans. I got a story coming up. The Haitians. I don't know if the Cubans as much yet. Most of the Cuban people that live here, to my understanding, at least the ones that have come here to escape communism, are freaking like some of the best conservative type people that you're going to come across. Just beautiful people is what I keep hearing. I haven't spent enough time in Florida to know for sure. A little time down there. Cuban food's freaking awesome. Donald Trump truthed this out. Can it be so that judges aren't allowing the U.S. to deport criminals, including murderers, out of our country and back to where they came from? If this is so, our country, as we know it, is finished. Americans will have to get used to a very different crime-filled life. This is not what our founders had in mind. It's true. Very true, in fact. Here is, this is Trump admitting, we'll talk about it after. I agree with what he's saying, and I think he does a pretty good job trying to illustrate it.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It seems it might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. Some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
Is anyone in your administration right now in contact with El Salvador about returning Abrego Garcia to the United States?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the Attorney General that question.
And that's good. I mean, his answers, to a large extent, he needs to separate himself from it, right? And he's like, the law thing, we're going to go with these. I got brilliant people that do this. I'm not a lawyer. Like, that's not my thing. You guys, obviously, if I do it as a lawyer, you guys are going to come after me like you guys did for the lawyer fees when the quote-unquote payoff happened, right? Trump administration seeking Supreme Court decision allowing deportation of 350,000 Venezuelans. He's essentially called them criminals, and they are. It's a communist country. A lot of the worst have been sent here. He wants to rescind that entire thing that Biden did, which was horrible, obviously. Democrat governor says he's not afraid of being arrested by border czar Homan. It's going to be interesting. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers expressed concerns over the suggestions from President Trump's top border advisor that he might face arrest due to the guidance he issues state employees regarding interactions with federal immigration agents. You're not the only one, by the way. There might be a few of you guys. But we'll see. I don't know. It might just take one, or if they're smart, they grab like the 4 or 5 of them that are doing it in unison. Like, well, they're going to arrest all of us? Yeah, I think we will. Trump skeptical about need to follow Constitution in deportation cases. Says, I don't know. Which kind of makes sense. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's correct. I'm not a lawyer. Don't know. So we'll see what Trump does end up choosing to do. Obviously, the left isn't going to agree with it, and I think for the most part, we'll probably be okay with it. Here is Nayib Bukele, obviously our good friend from El Salvador. He says, it's clear that a country at peace, without deaths, without extortion, without bloodshed, without corpses every day, without mothers mourning their children, is not profitable for human rights NGOs, nor for the globalist media, nor for the elites, nor for Soros. And their problem with El Salvador isn't just that it caused them to lose their businesses here, but that it's becoming an example for other countries, that terrorism can be defeated, that we can live in peace. Pretty powerful that they are doing that. Life has gotten significantly better in El Salvador, especially after cleaning up the mess. And that prison has been a huge part of that. Dozens of migrant gangsters from Tren de Aragua were arrested after making a bit of a Google Maps blunder. Kind of funny is 40 of these guys, apparently, they were on the Ambassador Bridge, which connects Detroit, Michigan to Canada. And they weren't even trying to sneak into or out of the United States. It wasn't even an issue of that. It just bad GPS directions, and it sent them down that road. Happened to be a bunch of people, cops on there for whatever reason, and they were just like, "What?" and busted the hell out of them. So arrested. I don't know if they've been deported yet. Trump DOJ sues states trying to extract billions from big oil with retroactive fine lawsuits. The Department of Justice filed these lawsuits Thursday against Hawaii and Michigan over planned climate-based litigation against fossil fuel companies. The DOJ also filed separate lawsuits against New York and Vermont over those states' climate superfund laws that levy fines against fossil fuel companies for producing legal products that consumers willingly and needfully purchase. So we'll see. Hopefully this gets us into the right direction. Again, a lot of stuff they're trying to undo. And again, when they can get to the auto pen stuff, they're kind of, that's why I think it's like a front burner thing. Like they're trying to heat that up enough to where we can probably get enough people to realize that most of these things Biden didn't actually sign. And if he didn't sign them, well, does that make them legal? If he didn't even know about it, is it legal? How do you prove that? Borderline impossible. But in the case of the auto sign where he was golfing in another country and they claimed he signed it in D.C., those types of things should be destroyed for sure. And maybe that's where we go. Maybe we could catch, I don't know, a bunch of those because he was always out of town. You guys know that, right? So how many of these things claim to have been signed in D.C. that weren't? One's got to wonder. Anti-Semitic attacks in last year was the highest on record. 9,354 anti-Semitic incidents reported nationwide. Not necessarily trying to throw fuel on this fire per se. There's enough things that kind of separate us right now, but it is interesting how much of this type of stuff is happening. I just think it's ridiculous. I think anybody being hated on for whoever they are, like, I mean, transgenders, like when they get in people's faces or whatever, that's a different story, but like, you know, hopefully we aren't running around just hating on people just because they happen to be different. Like, I know some people do. I've seen a lot of stuff where people are just like attacking Dylan Mulvaney, for example. Like, I was pissed off about the Bud thing. That was kind of over the top, putting in our face. I don't think they knew their audience very well. But I don't have a problem with Dylan. Like, Dylan's Dylan. Like, he, whatever, has got to do what they got to do, right? Like, I don't know. Whatever. People are gonna be what they're gonna be. Again, these are all these third rail things I should probably not talk about. Life's too short, folks. Frankly, with the stuff we've got to do and the change that needs to come and the ascension process that I believe is nearby. Yeah, we got to collectively pull our heads out of our arses, as they might say. House is repealing California's special EPA waiver, the first mile of highway to undo Biden EV mandate. They were doing California this special, where they're like, we're going to give you this waiver where we're going to allow you to suggest that fuel economy or types of cars is actually different than what we as a country state. They were going to let California lead the way. And California loves that kind of stuff with our douchiness, right? That's one of our favorite things where we get all high up our own butts. But they put a stop to it, thank God. I think there was another thing that they stopped that I talked about, I think Friday. So again, hopefully we can get California to shut the F up, basically. Trump administration asked the U.S. Supreme Court to let Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency have access to sensitive Social Security information. They're trying to escalate this, but they need to be able to get access to it. And I can't imagine why legally they can't. I just don't think that, they've got classification. Anybody can look at it. People that work for the Social Security Administration are allowed to look at these data points that they claim are so secret that they shouldn't be able to look at them. Why is it okay for some people to see it, but not somebody else that's got the same classification, qualification, same security clearance? Swears they're not going to use them, has an NDA they've signed. Why does that not count? And frankly, why do we trust half the people we do trust with that information? Because we shouldn't. We've seen that taken advantage of numerous times as well. We'll see what happens when we finally get a chance to get that in front of the judges. Oh, federal judges on Friday struck down Donald Trump's punitive executive order targeting law firm Perkins Coie as a violation of the U.S. Constitution's protection for free speech and due process and a setback for the Republican president. This is like Reuters or someone. But the U.S. judge ruling says this first by any judge deciding the legal merits of any of these several directives Trump has done with these law firms. We needed somebody to finally put their name on the dotted line, so Judge Beryl Howell will be the one that gets to be kind of, forever mocked, taught about in law school. This is why, you don't do these types of things. U.S. court halts ruling ordering Voice of America employees back to work. Weird case in that they said you can't force them to hire everybody back, and the other side of this is just angry. They're like, well, too much damage will be done. They're just like pouting and shit. But they didn't say, because the government didn't make any arguments about actually starting these stations back up and funding them still. And supposedly what we understand is they're actually going to do that. So they're not totally shutting down Voice of America. They're just shutting down certain parts of it, and they're firing a bunch of people that they consider to be waste or bloat. Whatever the case is, that's kind of what the judge did. So the judge kind of half agreed with it, and then the other half, he's like, you guys didn't file anything, so I guess you're okay with that? So anyway, we'll see. 15,000 USDA employees have taken Trump's financial incentive to leave. That's a step in the right direction, right? And if it's smaller like this too, by the way, then it doesn't hit the unemployment as hard. I would assume these people are going to file unemployment. I don't know if that's part of the deal that they can't, or that they pay them over an extended period of time so they can delay that unemployment hit. I don't know how all this stuff's structured. Depends. There's a lot of ways this stuff happens. Been laid off more than once. Well, twice. Not a lot. Sucks, though, when it happens. Trump DOJ ignores court order to make Adams' corruption case documents public. This is, again, a strange thing. So they pulled back the case, the Trump administration, if you will, Pam Bondi and all them. They pulled back the case. They're like, nah, we're not gonna prosecute Eric Adams right now. He's working with us too. Some are saying that's why. I mean, there's definitely interesting timing around it, so maybe it's directly tied together, one might think. But they wanted to unseal like all the evidence, everything that the government had in their pipeline. They're like, well, you gotta show everybody what this is, and the government's like, we might still prosecute this case, and you're asking us to show everything that we had for evidence against you guys? Like, that's pretty weird in its own right. So there's a lot of places right now where I think we've got justices that are literally just straight up going way past what their rights are. Like, this case isn't, I forget the proper term, where you can't, you can't retry it later. Was it, I've drawn a blank on it, whatever. I don't want to get lost trying to think of a stupid term. So they I don't know, whatever. Again, I'm of course making excuses for our administration because I think I trust them a lot more than I do the other side. I guess that's the problem. 5.4 magnitude earthquake hits West Texas, felt in El Paso. That's a pretty good sized quake, especially in Texas. You guys don't get them. You guys freak out. Big giant ass flat state just doesn't usually move like that. Again, could directly be tied to oil. That's one thing whenever they happen in Texas, there's possibility. I know a lot of people are like, they're underground bunkers. That's possible too. Anything's possible. I don't know. What's the depth? Just 4.7 miles? That definitely could be an underground bunker. That's definitely in the range, but yeah, it's also where we drill for oil too. Interestingly. In some cases anyways. So whatever. I hope you guys are okay in Texas. You get 5.4, a little scary. Alberta, Canada, they just signed a petition. They want to be the first 51st state. The first 51st state. I guess we'll have only one 51st state, technically, but Alberta's vying for that position, it seems.
Trump has been calling to make Canada the 51st state, and a group in Alberta is apparently on board. Jeffrey Rath is leading that group, a lawyer from Alberta. He has that delegation behind him. Jeff, how big is your delegation? Tell me the feeling you are for joining America.
Hundreds of Albertans that are reaching out and volunteering to join our delegation. Right now, our group is very small. It's a steering committee of people that are looking to come to Washington on an exploratory basis and meet with a representative appointed by President Trump to explore the benefits of either Alberta becoming an independent sovereign nation with economic union to the United States, becoming a U.S. territory, or pursuing full statehood.
How is
those
Canada,
are our goals.
How has Canada
What's
lost
that?
their way? How has Canada lost their way that makes you think you got to join us?
Trudeau and Carney, are all wringing their hands over the tariffs. They're going to be kicking Albertans in the teeth and bringing in a 21% carbon tax increase in April. This is, the carbon tax itself is just an insult to hardworking Albertans that can't afford to heat their homes and can't afford diesel and gas for their cars and trucks to go to work. That's a big part of why it is that people in Alberta are fed up with being governed by idiotic politicians from Quebec and Ontario that do not understand our province and do not understand that culturally we're far more closely affiliated with our friends to the south in Montana than we are with all of the people in Ottawa wringing their hands over the smell of diesel exhaust when people from Alberta come to protest how badly we're being treated by Ottawa.
What's your message to Donald Trump? 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Greenland self-determination. Please support Alberta self-determination. You promised that to Alberta in the same way you promised it to Greenland. We'll be an excellent partner to the United States and we'll all prosper. All
right, let's see how big your delegation gets, Jeff, how many calls you get, and maybe, Jeff, you will be governor of our 51st state when it's all said and done.
All right, well, that is what it is. Barack Obama took out a surprising dinner date as he spends another night without Michelle amid rumors of divorce. It's Daily Mail. It's our mail online. It's crap. But I opened it because I was actually curious if he was still hanging out with that fella. There was another fella. And I'm like, it's going to be weird when it finally comes out that he's gay, right? That's going to be really hard to explain, because Michelle's a woman. And then now Michelle, I mean, for you guys, I'm just saying, I'm using the right terms for the moment. But like Michelle, like for the normie, Michelle, though, is like, did she make him gay? And so maybe they'll end up blaming Michelle for making Barack gay. I don't know. I can't wait to see how it plays out. I think it'll be funny, probably. But alas, he was one of his siblings, so whatever, like his sister or something like that. And she's been hanging out with her brother, because that's about the only way you can hang out in public and not be, not have people figure out what's going on. Now, quote unquote, she will probably start dating another fella eventually, which shouldn't surprise a lot of people. But, he will probably start dating another fella as well. I doubt he's going to find himself a good tranny girl like he had. I mean, it's hard to, once you've gone tranny, there's no going back, I guess. Healthy Home. Love this product. There was someone that emailed me, by the way, and they were putting in danradiostyle.healthyhome.com, and then it popped up and said, this email site's trying to take your information. I'm going to say, guys, that's definitely not what's going on. I'm not surprised when you're over the target. You do have these types of things happen. But danradiostyle.healthyhome.com is this site here. And yes, if you join, there's some information that you'll provide. When you shop, you'll provide some information. So it's not a lie. But if that pops up, I'm just letting you know this is a good site, especially if it's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com specifically. This is where it's taking you, and it's taking you to an okay place. So you can accept it, and once you accept it, it'll let you back in easier. I've had it happen on sites that are good, but I've also had it happen on sites that are questionable. So, sometimes you take it, if you will. But this is amazing products. Stem Cell or Stem Active, it helps increase your stem cells in your body, helps you heal faster, significantly faster. In fact, there's a bunch of really good stuff. I got to pull that white sheet up and either memorize it better or share it with you guys, because there's a bunch of really, really cool things that happen as you take this product, like over a month or 2 or 3 or 4. And it does talk about, it breaks it down into like, when you hit like the 3rd month, this is some of the stuff where you'll really start to notice. And it's like, holy crap. So I think I'm like 2 months in solid, and I'm feeling much better in the big picture. I've not been taking the collagen, but it's been kind of an experiment. It's why, and I actually think I can see where it's not been a benefit. So I'm going to start doing that again. I love the Prime. I tell you guys about it all the time for the energy. This is a must. And I don't know, I can't even tell you How long it lasts, because I can barely tell when it kicks in, but I can tell that I'm got more energy. I just I'm talking faster. I'm just moving around faster. It's just, I can tell. It works incredibly well. So Stem Active, stem cells, healing, but it does just a lot of rejuvenation for you. It really, really does help kind of improve the stuff that is us growing older and actually not reverse, but definitely slow it way the heck down. That's for sure. Stem Active comes in a gel or the pills. The pills aren't that big, but it depends on your preference and whatnot. But yeah, so if you don't like taking pills or anything that's a little bigger than like a little teeny tiny itty bitty pill, then yeah, you probably want to get the gel, and it's cheaper. So go figure. Balance is a hormone support. Doesn't actually put hormones in you. It causes your body to deal with hormones better. This is really for ladies that are kind of in that phase of their life where things are starting to change. And what's really cool about this stuff, one, it's priced in a way that's supposed to last you a month, but from what I'm hearing from others, they're getting 2-3 months out of this one container. So it lasts quite a while. So it's really good buy in that standpoint. It's transdermal. It's a lotion. So you literally, like, you just rub it on, you put a little on your wrist, and then you just rub your wrists together until it's more or less kind of rubbed in, and you're good. You're done. That's it. You do that once a day. That's it. That's all the effort you have to put in. And your body starts to work with you when it comes to hormones. People are sleeping better. They're just they're not feeling a lot of the same problems. Again, I don't know how to speak to all the stuff that's going on there. I just keep hearing from people that it really, really works well. It's a very powerful product. Collagen peptides is one of the most important proteins you got in your body. Sagging skin, sore muscles, joint discomfort, lifeless hair. Yeah, this is loss of collagen. You got a collagen peptide. You get these packs that are liquid. They're very quickly absorbed into the body. It's an incredible way to get just a nice giant supplement of collagen. In fact, this is probably one of those things where I bet you it wouldn't be the worst thing if you actually did 2 of them if you were like crazy. I wonder what that would do. I'm going to try that maybe. I'm going to try doubling up on them maybe for a month. Let's see how that goes. I tried not doing them for a month. I'm going to try doubling up. See what happens. It's crazy. I'll tell you. I'll let you guys know. Prime's incredible. I told you about that, the energy. And then Stem Active for your pets. You got a pet that's going through surgery or something's injured and it's just got damage somewhere in its body, hip dysplasia even maybe. Actually, Stem Active helps a bunch. And it's not nearly as expensive as the human version of the Stem Active. So it's really kind of something that's, I don't know. You know, oddly, most of us will spend more money on our pets than we will for ourselves, which is very funny. But this is a very powerful product that will help your pets. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Let me try to say that again. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com or Heal Thy Home, which is what you're doing. When you think healthier, when you like kind of put that in your consciousness and you're like, I want to be healthier in my life, you make decisions where you buy healthier products, you eat healthier foods, you actually make healthier decisions. You do things that benefit your health, like working out and stuff like that. That's what healthy people do. So many people try to heal something that they've already got, but they focus on it. They try to heal it. They try to come to terms with it. They try to do all this. But really what you want to do is manifest health. And by focusing on what healthy people do or what I do when I'm healthy, this is what you focus on. Healthier products, healthy life. That parasite cleanse too, by the way, I've talked about. Yeah, that's, there's things you can do that are healthy choices. Think about it. It's a different way to look at our health rather than our disease, as they like to call it, which is dis-ease, by the way. We talked about that in my Law of One stuff. It really gets into the chakras. When you get a chakras start getting jacked up, you start getting sicknesses that are related to that chakra. I've talked about it before. I don't want to get too far off in the weeds on this particular show. I'm already dancing there myself as it is. But yeah, nonetheless. This was pretty good. And I think you guys will realize this as well. This is the Palisades fire. Eco-terrorism for sure happening. Again, we've talked about energy weapons and all this stuff. And again, not saying that didn't happen. Not saying that. Okay? Not saying the earth's not flat either. Just saying this type of stuff happens also. And to me, this, by the way, is ridiculous. To me, this is extremely expensive because the guy bought a fire truck. I mean, maybe it was a childhood thing, but the dude's not a good dude. We'll find that out in a second. But energy weapons are extraordinarily difficult to do. This is so much easier. And this is sinister as hell.
So I am convinced that there is something very large at play. In the Palisades fire, there was a couple from Portland, Oregon, and they drove into the Palisades fire scene in a decommissioned fire truck. They had emblazoned this fire truck with the name Rolling River Fire Department.
Were they there like from minute one?
All I know is that they got into the scene 2 days in a row before they were stopped and arrested.
Whoa!
I don't know if they burnt it down. We do know that they were acting suspiciously in the fire zone on a fake fire truck. Turns out the woman is a National Weather Service wind and fire expert who teaches juvenile delinquents climate change issues. They make rap songs called weather slaps. And some of the lyrics go like, wait until you see it all burn. And her husband, the guy behind the wheel, is a convicted arsonist who burned down country clubs and rich people's houses in a small town in Oregon.
Holy shit.
They were eco-terrorists. So I am convinced that this is an act of eco-terrorism.
That's insane to me.
I don't know why it bothers me when people say Oregon. Weird. And again, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. I don't care. I've been saying Oregon my entire life. I grew up in both states that actually smash Oregon in the middle. But so many people are like, it's Oregon. Really? Is that all the same people that say it's Nevada? Because we've called it Nevada our whole lives, damn it. We said it in English. We pronounced it in English. Now all these people are pronouncing it in Spanish. Nevada. We never called it that. It's always been Nevada. Get out of here. Shut the heck up. Your properness nonsense. Nonsense poopy pants. Duffy slams Defense Department over recent national airport incident. We had another issue. I guess I probably should have kind of played these in this direction. But we had another couple issues where helicopters literally caused flights to have to circle back around, which is very difficult. And it was because of VIPs and helicopters that took precedence over the airspace. And Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, is like, what the hell are you guys doing, Defense Department? No. This is one of the craziest places in the nation when it comes to air traffic. And you guys are like, shut it down for a second. We want to fly a special person through here. Fly around, man. And that'll take an extra few minutes. I hate to say it, but shucks. Sucks balls, as they say sometimes. So yeah, the FAA is starting a probe into this, all these near misses recently happening, even though helicopters aren't supposed to be flying near the flight path at all. We also found out, too, that the pilot of the helicopter that crashed, ran into the plane, was told to divert twice, once by air traffic, once by the pilot dude in there giving her an F, like, you're about to fail because we're going to crash. That would have been funny if that was the only thing that survived, like 9/11. Like, find driver's licenses that aren't burnt or anything, right? Oh, see, this came from the terrorists. Like, really? It's like, I feel like the same thing. Like, the grade comes out, like, like failed. Like, I just think it's funny. 5 things to know as Trump rolls out the Golden Dome missile defense shield. There was something in here that I wanted to. I think it broke down the cost a little bit. That's what it was. They said this effort's going to include about $7.2 billion to develop and buy space-based sensors. Important. $5.6 billion to develop space-based missile interceptors. Really? You're going to be like that? Just going to move around all on your own? Love that. Space-based missile interceptors. I want everybody to stop thinking that they're going to be missiles in space. That is not how this will work. Guarantee you. 100% promise. We are not putting a bunch of missiles in space. Dan, how do you know? Because it's extraordinarily expensive to put weight in space, and missiles would be a stupid, inefficient way to do it. Also, orbital mechanics, the way they work, you don't just shoot straight down. It's not how it works. Lasers do, because they travel at light speed. Rockets don't. They travel at thousands of miles an hour, which still requires you to slow down relative to the Earth's spin and actually come. You got to deorbit. And you're taking a lot of heat when you do that. And again, bad idea. It's not what they're doing. Okay, so everybody's talking about that. And right now, the Defense Department loves that. They're like, yeah, no, keep talking up missiles. Yeah, missiles in space. Totally, it's what we're doing. Got missiles in space. And that's not what this is going to be, just so you know. Just anybody talking about missiles in space? It's not missiles in space. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's Juan O'Savin saying it's missiles in space. There's no way to tell that it's missiles in space. $22.4 billion for non-kinetic missile defense capabilities. Non-kinetic. Again, Too hard to deorbit. For any of you guys that understand orbital mechanics, you get it. You understand what I'm saying. There's very few of you that do. You should play the game KSP, Kerbal Space Program. It'll teach you orbital mechanics, and you'll be like, oh, I get it now. It's a fun-ass game, too. It's one of my favorite video games. Easily top. It's my top 5, for sure. Top 3, really. So yeah, they got some electronic warfare stuff they're going to put up there. Makes a lot of sense. They're going to have energy weapons, is what these are going to be. They're going to be able to hit these things right in their initial launch phase, which is when they're going the slowest. We've already got satellites that can spot any, like from what I've heard, it's literally so sensitive, you could literally light a match in North Korea and they'd see it. Or China, or Russia. So we've got some pretty amazing abilities to see stuff. Immediately we could process it, and immediately we could do what we want to it. And yeah, hitting it with a energy weapon, it's a darn good way. This article did go into how Elon Musk is still talking about how he's going to have a part in this, or possibly could have a part in this. Elon Musk posted specifically that one, he's not been talked to about this, and two, he doesn't want to do it. No, I'd rather not. There's got to be better people for this. So if his Starlink is utilized and he just starts launching more and more new versions of that, which I'm sure they're constantly updating the different gizmos and gadgets they're putting on there for the military. Outside of that, I think people just need to chill down. I think there's a lot of bullshit stories being pushed, especially anything that's meant to make you angry about Musk. There's a lot of that happening right now. We'll see what happens. Mexico rejects Trump's troop offer. He offered him troops to help with the cartels. It's like, do you want us to be happy to send some military into your country and clean up those cartels for you? And she's like, no, we don't need that, want that. No, essentially. So yeah, she admitted it, he proposed that, but she's like, no, I told him no. President Trump, our territory is inalienable. Our sovereignty is inalienable. Our sovereignty is not for sale. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Mexico's like, they're probably trying to take over the rest of Mexico. They already took over part of us years ago, right? So who knows? Maybe Trump's like, I'd like to make this entire continent all one color. Screw this. Whatever. I don't think it's what he's doing, but I think people see it that way. There is supposedly hope for the UK, guys. I don't know if you know this, but their Reform Party just dominated this election. I don't understand their election process at all. It is extraordinarily retarded. No offense to the British, your system. Total offense to your system, but no offense to my Brit friends, or enemies even for that matter. But apparently the Reform UK, that's Nigel Farage's group, and they somehow now have 677 counselors, and there's like 1,637 of these counselors. Yeah, I think people that wear powdered wigs or whatever, they got voting rights or something. But the next group down is Liberal Democrat, which, is probably progressive, super duper, or Labor is also progressive. But yeah, they got 370 counselors. They like half even. And then Conservative, which is not even conservative, it's very mislabeled. It's definitely left-leaning, hardcore for that matter. They got 319. So again, between them and the Liberal Democrat, they still don't. Oh, they have a little more than, I should say, the Reform. So the two of them can kind of mess stuff up. But yeah, the Conservative, I guess, went down a bunch, and Reform went up a bunch, equal to it, frankly. Anyway, whatever the case is, like I said, I don't friggin' understand. I think when it comes down to the votes, and we'll see, and England, you guys are so screwed if you don't get your shit back together, because they're taking away your ability to even talk about it now. Russell Brand, too. What's going on with that poor guy? It's sad. All said, Nigel Farage posted this. In post-war Britain, no one has ever beaten both Labour and the Tories in a local election before. These results are unprecedented. So, yeah, hopefully we're making some progress there, and one of these days it'll make more sense. Right now, it's England. Turkish jets engaged in electronic jamming operations against Israel. Against Israel. When I was talking about drslikesgold.com, this is happening. Now, Turkey getting involved in this excursion changes things a lot, makes this very easy to spin out of control. Turkey is like the Arab world. And if Turkey decides that Israel has crossed the Arab line, then that's Saudi Arabia, that's Qatar, that's like a crap ton of the countries, the oil, the money, in that entire region. They're going after Damascus, which is also in that Bible, what we like talking about. Damascus is a key city. World's armies taking over Damascus, leveling Damascus. There's a lot of these prophetic things that are being attempted. And this is, what's playing out before our eyes right now. So again, strange stuff. And Turkey, I think, is literally using these weapons with precision, and it's just jamming. Doesn't cause damage to the craft. It just makes it impossible for you to maybe lock onto a target or something like that. Whatever the case is, it's making things difficult, if not impossible. Israel came close to an unprecedented strike. They did an airstrike really close to the presidential palace over in Syria. Now, right now, it's not actually being occupied by a quote-unquote president. It's being occupied by like whoever's sort of in charge right now. The Assad government, Jolani Sharah, has since been using it as his air base from which to rule the country. Strike happened just outside of it. Most likely was some sort of defenses or even troop deployments. And it's weird that the smoke is yellow, but that might just be the lighting, I hope, because that would imply mustard gas or something strange. Who knows? Here's an attack happening at Ben Gurion Airfield, which is their international airport there in Jerusalem, I believe it is, and they got hit by a missile. It hit within the perimeter, but outside of it missed, which either these things are wholly imprecise, and it's amazing they even got this close to the airport, or they did this as they wanted to be able to say they hit the airport, but not actually do any damage, because we do stuff like that where, we'll hit Iran, and they can then strike back, and we'll shoot down almost everything they shot at us, but they don't necessarily have to report that, right? So there's games at play, but needless to say, here's the missile hitting. Yeah, there's some hawking on that for sure, but yeah, boom, big boom, right? So yeah, that ruined your day. That's not a bad explosion if you think about it. If a plane would have been anywhere near that, people, terminal, that could have been pretty bad. So again, I don't know. So House is doing a weird thing right now. House in our country. H.R. 867, the IGO Anti-Boycott Act, sponsored by Mike Lawler, fines up to $100 million and possible prison sentence up to 20 years. Now, get the actual specifics of it, not necessarily the interpretation from that individual. But this bill expands an existing anti-boycott law to include certain boycotts imposed by international government organizations. Current law prohibits various actions by U.S. persons, individuals, or entities. You. It prohibits you to, in relation to boycotts imposed by foreign governments on a country which is friendly to the United States and that is not itself the object of a U.S. boycott. This bill applies to those prohibitions to similar boycotts imposed by IGOs. So literally, you can't boycott as an individual. You can't choose not to hire people from a certain area, which I get that one a little better. But you also can't refuse to buy products from a particular country that you've deemed boycotted, even though they're not officially boycotted by the United States government. And they can fine you up to $1 million, and they can put you in jail also for up to 20 years or whatever it was. That seems weird. Now, they also say, refusing to do business with companies or organizations under the laws of the boycotted country, if the refusal is pursuant to an agreement with or request from the country or IGO imposing the boycott, so it might be the key in that, but 2, refusing to employ any U.S. person on the basis of race, religion, sex, or national origin. Get that? I don't know. That one's tough. You're not supposed to really ever do that. You shouldn't care where they're from when you hire them, but that's easier said than done. And 3, furnishing information about whether someone is associated with charitable or fraternal organizations that support the boycotted country. So you can't go after other organizations that are friends of them. So it's kind of an interesting law. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It seems kind of illegal. I doubt it would pass the Senate. I hope it doesn't pass the House, frankly. Where Thomas Massey will vote yes on this. You watch. Bastard. You watch. Pile of trash will vote yes on that one. Pakistan test-fired nuke-capable ballistic missiles as tensions with India soar. I swear I thought I had imagery of that or video of that. Here it is. I do. Sometimes. Well, the rocket sounds are very, very well dubbed in. Can't hear this dude at all, but we can hear that. Good job, good job. Anyways, kind of cool. Obviously not these missiles either, by the way, because that missile was not bright red, which I would assume, I don't know. I hope these are just celebratory missiles or caps that they put on the actual missiles or something stupid. Like, please tell me your missile's not just bright red and white. Like, that just seems oddly stupid. Make it rainbow color at that point. Like, it's impossible to camouflage now. Oh, it'd be cool if they did it with, like, digital rainbow camo. That'd be weird looking. Anyway, statement, operational readiness, yada, yada. They shot the thing. All right. Obviously, it's meant to freak out India and everybody else. Oh, we got rockets. By the way, the range on them are like, I don't know, 400 and... It's not very far. Like 400... No, was it kilometers probably, of course, first off. It's not in this thing. Where is it? There it is, 450. Not that it mattered that much, but it's not that far. No Ukraine and EU without Budapest's approval, Viktor Orban says. Yeah, Hungary not involved. Hungary's going to veto. No way Ukraine's part of EU. So keeping them out of EU, and they're not allowed to be a part of NATO. Ukraine has been shut off, period. Khazarian Mafia. Ukrainian drones have been targeting historic Orthodox churches in Russia. If this is remotely true, which I think it is, I think it's absolutely true, this is horrific. Like, I mean, in Russia, if you're putting weapons inside Orthodox churches, damn you, like I would be as angry at you. But blowing up or hitting a church, that's just, man, that's just messed up is all I can say. That's all I can say. Like, people that burn Qurans just to make a point, right? Like, I'm going to show them. It's like, that's a holy book to somebody, and you're burning it. That's not a good idea. Like, them burning the Bible, not cool. Burning the flag, not cool. Like, just, it's not a good idea to burn people's symbols of stuff that really matters to them. It's just not. You can disagree with it all you want, right? But doing that act, that's kind of messed up. In my opinion. I don't know. I'm sure people can justify it, but meh. Dozens injured as Russia and Ukraine trade drone strikes. They just back and forth at each other, hitting each other hard. More damage. Yay, more killing, more death. 47 people wounded this time. I don't know if anyone died. I guess we're getting better in that regard. But a bunch, like 183 drones? Are you shitting me? Damn. Russia fired a total of 183 exploding drones and decoys overnight. Of those, 77 were intercepted, 73 likely lost. Which means a bunch of them hit. Damn, that's admitting to it. Holy crap. Russia's defense ministry said they shot down 170 Ukrainian drones, so they damn near traded equal numbers. Doesn't seem that the drones that Ukraine's using are as good. U.S. approves an F-16 support package for Ukraine. It's worth $310.5 million. This ties into the new agreement. It's just some extra stuff to make these better. I think some maintenance, new software upgrade, stuff like that. We never gave any, by the way, F-16s. They all have been given by NATO. That was one thing they talked about in this article, which is interesting. The United States is obviously still not going to give any F-16s, and probably mainly because the ones we have anyways are like way better than the NATO versions. They like dumb them down quite a bit. They say about 10%, but I'm betting it's more than that. You don't exactly want to give your potential enemy a better fighter than you got. Politico posted this, so, just like that. Kyiv can't guarantee safety of foreign leaders on May 9th in Moscow, Zelensky says. He's literally saying this, and it's kind of pissing people off. And this is his quote. Our position is very simple for all countries traveling to Russia on May 9th. We cannot be held responsible for what happens on the territory of the Russian Federation. They provide you with the security. Therefore, we won't give you any guarantees because we don't know what Russia will do these days. Russia, what they'll do. I just don't think Russia's got to try that hard to make Zelensky look like a dumbass. I think Zelensky seems to do it overwhelmingly well on his own. He did it in the Oval Office, and I think that was a big part of why Trump kept that thing rolling, because he wanted people to see that. He wanted everybody to see it, the whole world to see this little spoiled brat. Too bad he wasn't dressed in his leathers and his high heels for that. Yeah, Dmitry Medvedev, he doesn't like what this dude's all about. He says these are verbal provocations, and this better not be the case. And if any sort of attack happens, and I'm sure Russia's going to have all sorts of crazy stuff in place, and other countries for that matter, likely. But yeah, if anything does happen, it would be pretty horrible, because China would be there. So Xi's going. All right, we've got people from other countries that are showing up on this brilliant day. That's when they destroyed Nazism. Of course, the Khazarian Mafia hates that. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. This is just, I don't know what's wrong with this world, but this is an example of it. Luigi the Musical. It's opening in San Francisco. It's going to tell a story of love, murder, and hash browns. Talking about the dude that shot the CEO. They literally people are making a play out of this. They're making this dude a hero. I just think that's so strange. So the world we are in now. Sweet sorrow, Warren Buffett. I already told you he parted. He's leaving Berkshire Hathaway later. He's really good at what he does. I think he's kind of a dick politically, but whatever. Senator Ted Cruz introduced a bill. It's kind of an interesting thing. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but it's a retirement mechanism, if you will, for people that don't want to use 401k or get into stocks and actually trust the banks. So you can actually put money into a special account. This is what he's pushing for anyways. A special account, and it's essentially pre-tax money. And if you take the money out, you get punished. You're only allowed to put 10 grand in up front, and then it's like $500 a year. Oh, it increases by $500 a year. So every year you can do 10,000, and the next year 10,500, and the next year 11,000 is the max. But you can dump this into these accounts, this universal savings account. I don't know, it's an interesting idea. Again, it's pre-tax money, so it lowers your tax liability, and it allows you to put some money into savings that you kind of, I think, get a higher interest rate on as well. Probably, it's just a more stable. Anyway, it's a way to kind of put some belief in the system or the new system. That would, to me, make a lot of sense for the new Treasury type notes, or a neat way they could pay some money back to people that maybe have some Federal Reserve notes they want to trade out. We got this top NASA official breaking 30 years of silence to reveal sensational UFO footage of a giant flying saucer secretly created by the U.S. Air Force. The video or the saucer? Which one's actually made by the Air Force? Anywho, I don't know if that's described really well. Here is the picture of it, though. Satellite surveillance photo taken for an FBI investigation into UFOs. The flying saucer that Rogers saw was 20 feet wide, probably about 8 to 10 feet tall, and it had a shallow dome on top of it. So this is what he saw. I don't know. Stuff's starting to come out. And people that are credible to make these, these discussions. So yeah, approximately 20 feet by 8 by 10. No antennas, no flight control surfaces. Everything was smooth. No rivets, no seams, nothing. There's a little area on top, which had a stick coming out of it. At the top of it were umbilical hoses, like if you were feeding gases or electricity into it. Everything was white. But there was a vertical black rectangle at 3 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, and the 9 o'clock on the upper half of the vehicle. He said there were also 4 horizontal rectangles spaced evenly around the middle. He said his mind was going crazy. So, yeah, crazy stuff. I don't know. Truth's coming out. I don't know if any of these are easy to watch. No, because this is an archived article. But, yeah, anyway. You had to, subscribe to even be able to see this. This is a huge-ass article. Holy shizzle. Oh, you guys might want to check it out. This is a big-ass... There's a lot in here. Anyway, a lot of stuff. UFOs, exciting. Thailand's created... This is a robot. It's not a dude wearing a crazy mask, which is what I initially thought. This is literally a robot. It's the latest thing with the Royal Thai Police. Deployed their latest acquisition, the AI Police Cyborg 1.0. This robot powered by artificial intelligence, scans crowds, detects threats, and analyzes videos in real time. Kind of like basically face recognition that can move around and walk amongst people and Basically scary stuff. Basically. Again, things happening very, very quickly, and a lot is going to continue to go. We're moving through these changes. It's a transition. Trump's getting us onto the right track, and there's going to be a little pain to this. There's going to be a little fear. There's going to be a little bit of people getting all angry, and then I think ultimately we're going to round a corner and stuff's going to start looking better. And then for most of us, we'll be able to be like, but look at everything, how much better it is. Yeah, I still hate Trump. That's fine, but everything's better, so I like him. I'm going to keep saying yes to this guy. We'll see how it plays out. A lot's happening. I've got some good music we're going to be doing coming up on Friday. It's going to be all based around the song Send Me an Angel. That's the actual inspiration. I've got some pretty good stuff. I'm already starting to pull, and we'll finish doing that through the night today. But again, got a lot of fun happening. And then, of course, Law of One, we're doing that on Thursday, and that's been a lot of fun as well. We're going to be doing that 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central. And, we'll be doing, I think, sessions 13 and 14. We even got those edited. I'm trying to get smart. Been running into a crunch time-wise, so I had to kind of branch my week out a little differently, kind of think of it differently. It was shocking. I was like, why hadn't I done this already? This is sort of stupid. Whatever. Old habits die hard. I love you guys. We're going to keep pushing forward. We're going to keep fighting the fight, and we're going to keep trying to help each other get to this next spot that we need to get to. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.